Greetings and salutations, Pokemon fans. We're back with more Week 9 content. Today we're going to look at Monai against StarMaster. And the first thing you notice is that this is a matchup of all times for sure, from Monai especially. Okay, so we have... Oh man, this looks horrible already for Monai. Like, right, so we have three steel types. Landorus, Latios, Jellicent. And opponents got these guys. This looks like a very hard game for Monai, unless this mixed Rachi with all the perfect moves, which is very unlikely, I will say. So you need Ice Punch for Gliscor, obviously. You need Grass Knot for Seismitoad. You need Fire Punch for Exca and Zone. And you need Iron Head for T-Tar, which means you still don't do much against like plot Celebi. If this is plot, it's usually plot on this build, right? Because you have rocks on Seismitoad that frees up your Celebi to run like Nasty Plot Recover, and Magneson kills Ferrothorn and Skarmory, so you can run Giga Drain HP Ice, and that's all well and good in the world. And then there's also Gliscor, who is probably worse than especially defensive, another guy that this team doesn't really deal with well, unless you're Ice Punch Rachi, or Ice Move, like Balloon Heatran with Ice Move will be okay here. But you need to hit a lot of Magma Storms to get any mileage out of it, and there's also a high chance you just get nuked in the process, right? So this looks like a very hard game, but when I can win, right? So you get up rocks and say 1 layer of spikes, because then you get Magnezone, or 2 layers of spikes, and then your Landorus is very strong in this matchup, depending on the Celebi spread and moveset. But let's assume it's Plot Ice. Well, that's obviously very annoying for you, but you have Etran, 1, 2, you have... Like, your two main... Etran plus Landorus with 1 spike down are very strong into this team, with only Seismitoad really doing vaguely something around it against them. But let's have a Jellicent. So as long as Jellicent can force stuff out, you can win with Hazards up if you play the X-Carry a little bit, which... not impossible, right? That said, the opposite also applies, where since you will get mag trapped, your Ferrothorn will get mag trapped, there's a non-zero chance that if this is Carfescadrill, which is usually is on this build, it's kind of problematic for this team, right? Unless you are max defense Lando, but if you are that, then you don't really do much against StarMaster's team. So I'm going to say that Monai has a very tough time this game, but maybe he can outplay his opponent, right? And as for leading, what do you lead with if you're Monai? Okay, I don't know. I don't remember the sets, because I'm technically at Monai this SPL, but I honestly don't remember what sets he ended up with on this. If you're Balloon Etran, I think you lead with that, and just click Magma probably on everything. Girachi, what even are the movesets here, man? Okay, I think it's Scarflatios or Scarfraci. Scarflatios, if I remember correctly. It's like Constabulary Jellicent. It's Modest Jelly too, with Shadow Ball Hydro Pump, which is pretty okay this game. Like, it could do a lot of work. And Rachi, I have no idea at all. It might be just some stupid defensive set. Okay, so what do you lead with? If you have U-turn, you may even lead Rachi, but I will lead Etran personally, I think. Or you can lead Landorus. If your opponent leads Seismitoad, you just U-turn out. And you can U-turn to Ferro, and then take it from there, assuming the Seismitoad stays in, which it will, right? It will click rocks turn 1. And yeah, you go Ferro, and then, yeah, there's a zone here, but I don't think you can... I mean, you can delay it for, like, a couple of turns, but I think you just spike then, and then, yeah. If you're StarMaster, what do you lead with? Do you lead Seismitoad? Probably, right? If your opponent leads Ferrothorn, you can always go zone, and if you get double on, unless it's... I mean, it's not that obvious, because that would need Monai to go hit run on a Seismitoad, which is kind of bad. Like it's not a great play turn one in general. It's a bit too risky. So I think Seismitoad, you can protect on a couple of these. The others you can rock on. Then on Ferrothorn you can just switch out. And that should be it, right? Seismitoad and I think Hitran from Monai. And looks like he lead immediate Ferrothorn and it Seismitoad, okay, you spike or you kick Power Whip, which okay, right. So there are a couple of considerations here. Let's put it in the most charitable terms from Monai's perspective. So you Power Whip turn one. For what purpose? Okay, so the only play, the only StarMaster play this works against is if StarMaster stays in and clicks rocks. Or well, if it stays in and doesn't click protect, but especially rocks. Because Scald may burn you. I think you still kill it, maybe, because, man, probably not, but then you're burned. But you don't care because there's a zone on the other side. Right, so you can look at this in economic terms, right? Which I don't know, I'm not really a super expert on it, but let's call it the expected value of a play, right? So if I Power Whip turn one on a Seismitoad, there are two possible outcomes. Actually three possible outcomes. One, my opponent clicks protect, no harm, no fall, nothing happened, basically. You reset back to turn one. Number two, my opponent Seismitoad stays in and clicks any other move, and that means probably rocks because Monai has no spinner, by the way. And you kill Seismitoad, which, fair enough, will be a fantastic boon to your game plan. But what is the on the other side? What is the expected value from StarMaster of staying in and clicking rocks with Seismitoad against a Ferrothorn, right? Like what? If I do that, like, what am I expecting? How am I expecting the game to pan out? I get rocks up, I lose my Seismitoad, I go Magnezone, and my opponent gets one spike up, I kill the Ferrothorn, great, but I've lost my Seismitoad, which is a pretty important this game, because else Landorus Terian might become very annoying. And so the other potential Ferrothor move is Spikes, which has value in this matchup for sure. Yes, StarMaster has got a spinner, but what one, it's probably Scarf Escadrille, so finding time to spin might be close to impossible, especially since you have an offensive Jellicent on your side. And two, spikes are pretty strong in this matchup. They support your best mon for this matchup, which is Landrosterian, but they also help a lot with, say, Etran, right? Especially if this is a Magma Storm Balloon Etran. One spike up is enough to make it very hard for stuff like Tyranitar to switch in for free, almost. And also Method itself, okay. And so we circle back to what's the expected value of Ferrothorn against Seismitoad. If you Power Whip, it's okay-ish, but the likelihood of it happening is so low as well. So you have to consider this stuff, right? So you have to think, okay, yes, if the play pans out like I hope it does, I will be on massive advantage, but my opponent is StarMaster, someone who will never do that under any circumstance whatsoever, right? Because this guy is very good at not making these stupid plays, especially early game. I liked how Dice put it. Players like StarMaster and Fincinators are like little freaks who will always click the right move against you, and I think it encapsulates how they play pretty well. They're very precise, methodical, they always have a plan, and the plan is basically never, at least early game, to risk a Seismitoad turn one on a Ferrothorn. Okay, so after this entire, I don't know how to say it, in Italian we call it Filippica, right? Which I believe was a Cicero what's it called in English? A speech, right? In the Senate, in the Roman Senate. Okay, so after all this, what should you do if you lead Ferrotor to one against a Seismic Method? You have two options. One, you spike. If you do that, you want to play a faster game. So you get the spikes down, then you go Landorus and immediately start threatening stuff because you get two layers of spikes. Right, one turn one as the Seismic switches to Magnezone, and the second one turn two because Magnezone does not one hit KO Ferrotor ever unless it crits, but okay, whatever. If it happens, it happens. The other option, obviously, is to switch out. Now, switch out to what? There are two paths here. You can switch out either to, if you are very aggressive, you can go immediately to Landorus Therian, but that's a bit of a raid play, kind of play, and it's not really necessary. It's a bit of a flex play, let's call it. Number two, you can just go Jellicent. Seismitoad does not touch Jellicent. Okay, some people run Toxic on Seismitoad. Possible, yes, but we circle back to expected value. Are you really clicking Toxic with Seismitoad in front of a Ferrothorn against a team with 3 steel types? No, right? That's never happening. Or if it happens, okay, if it happens, you have been outplayed, you accept it, and yeah, your Jellicent is toxic, but who cares, right? At least you still have Ferrothorn. And if it ends up Jellicent against Magnezone, you immediately switch back to Landorus, because Landorus doesn't really take that much damage from zone. You may make a case that StarMaster then can go for an outplay and play Flash Cannon, these little ramifications. And another thing that's kind of unique to Pokemon, man, 12 minutes and it's only turn one. Right, another thing that's pretty unique to Pokemon is that some plays are so, let's call them suboptimal, that they loop back to being good because you expect your opponent to play optimally, right? So again, as I said, probably the optimal play under normal circumstances for Monai turn one is to switch out his Ferrothorn to Landorus Therian because Magnezone is probably coming, but and so is switching to Magnezone turn one for StarMaster. That's also his optimal play because he has no reason to try to outplay anything else, like to predict anything else, right? You just go Magnezone the Ferrothorn. Whatever happens, happens. You can always switch back to other things if Monai reads you and switches his Ferrothorn out. And so, since the optimal play from both is, well, it's Magnezone and Landorus Therian, it's Scalding with Seismitoad turn one loops back to being a viable play, right? Because if Monai tries to read you and you Scald the incoming Landorus, then you're doing great. You're in a fantastic position, and if you burn, especially, the game is pretty much over. But that said, ideally, you should probably switch to Jellicent turn one as Monai. And if you want to stay in, do not click Power Whip. Just click Spikes, man. You can go for it. It forces you to play a bit faster, like, because obviously you lose Ferrothorn and you get 2 spikes down, but your opponent has a spinner. But I mean, at least with Landorus, if you get a couple U-turns or Earthquakes or the Power Ice is right, then paired with Etran, you can do a lot. You can do a lot of damage to StarMaster at the point where you win. Except what happened, Monai Power Whip, now you have no spikes, and you will get only 1 spike down. Yes, the second spike only does 5% more damage. 1 layer of spikes does 12.5. 2 layers of spikes do, what, 17%, I believe? The second one is mega unoptimal, but, I mean, it's still better than Power Whipping a Magnezone for 19%, right? Like, the second spikes will do more than 19% to only one Pokemon, mind you, and one that doesn't care about his health over the course of the game. And so, if you're Monai here and click Power Whip, do not do it. Never, ever click Power Whip here. Switch to Jellicent, please. In this matchup, you switch to Jellicent, or switch to Landorus if you're really feeling like, oh yeah, I'm the best player ever. I'm going to outplay StarMaster turn one. Fantastic. If you want to do it, Power Whip is not the way to do it. Go Landorus. Or switch to the Jellicent, which is the best play by far. And I've seen some people. Okay, so this is a bit of a meme segment because we made fun of Monai for a while for Power Whip in Row 1, but we also asked in on Discord, on main Black and White Discord, what would you do? And a couple of people said, I would go Jirachi if it's Uter. Okay, that's not a play. Don't do it, please. And Heatran also not a guy you should send in here. It's either Jellicent or Lando, and if you really want to stay in, use Spike. Those are your three plays. There's also the option of going Latios. I don't super hate it. I think it's very mediocre of a play. It doesn't really do much. Because then you have a... No matter what happens, you have Latios, naked Latios in the open like that. That's not really... It's not gonna do much into this team. Without spikes, not even rocks. Like you just have a Latios in on a Magnezone. It's a reveal Magnezone as well, which might be say Thunder Wave, and so it's a bit of a suspicious play, but ultimately it works, right? It's kind of like same ideas going Jelly, but I think Jelly is better. Okay, right. After 16 minutes of analyzing turn 1, we can finally watch the game, which I don't think there's much to say, because as I said, as soon as I saw the matchup, this looks horrible for Monai. Okay, get spikes up. Okay, you go land when rocks. Okay, you can Earthquake too. Earthquake is a good play because, as you can see, StarMaster only real switch into Lando is Seismitoad, and so if you damage it, you are in a great spot, and then you click rocks on the Seismitoad, which is basically the reverse of turn 1, as StarMaster doesn't care and calls, which is the right play, by the way. Like, who cares, right? And then, yeah. This game is over. There's... This is unwinnable, man. Escadrille will win. There's a Berlandorus here on this side. Okay, let's see. What even is the Celebi set? Will we get to see it in action? Okay, this looks nasty plot as I expected, because it took too much from Shadow Ball. I mean, I know it's Modest Jelly, but this looks like a zero bulk Celebi. Well, zero special defense saves, rather. EVs, rather. Okay, Itran is... Oh, right, it's Scarf Itran, now I remember. Which, unfortunately, is lower than Scarf Escadrille if the Escadrille is Jolly. But, hey, if it's Adamant Esca, you can still win with your guy here, Itran. Jelly is still annoying as well. Like, Celebi dies to Shadow Ball from here. You click Hydro Pump, I believe, or Recover. This is the passive mid-ground of all times. And Landorus is dead. Okay, who clicks HPIs here as Lando? It's the most epic snipe of all times. Oof! And since the Gliscor doesn't have Toxic Orb activated yet, it's actually a good play. Maybe not a good play, but... I mean, it's so desperate, might as well go for it, right? And if the Jirachi has... Nah, this is... Okay, Hydro Pump will do, what, a 90%? Oh, recover? What? Sorry? Okay, so you have... Wait, so you have Jellicent at 88% on a Gliscor. Recover for what? Like, okay, if Gliscor Airquakes you, it will do, what, 30 something? This is zero bull, so maybe a little more. Let's say 35%. Okay, you recover it off and... I mean, I guess, but then you can just recover the next turn as the Gliscor is... Like, right, if you recover this turn and the opponent attacks, nothing has happened, basically. Some enlightened person would say nothing ever happens, right? But you probably should attack here. One, you're only recovering rocks. Two, if you Hydro Pump the Gliscor and as the Gliscor attacks you, which is probably what... Like, if you expect the Gliscor to Earthquake you, you just Hydro Pump it, right? It will survive because this is special defensive, kind of rare on these builds. They're most often max speed, or rather 3 10 speed, top speed Landrustarian. But you also have Celebi, so this makes sense. Okay, so you either pump the Gliscor to 80-85%, give or take. Right, that means Gliscor will be left at 15% plus Toxic Orb, so 12.5, 27%, let's say, make it quick. And then, well, you're at 50%, Gliscor is at 27%. That then you can even recover there, or if you think your opponent is going to for an outplay, you can attack then. But you always either pump the first turn of this interaction in this situation. You do not, please do not do not recover. And never mind that StarMaster Earthquake, Sword Dance, that makes recover even worse. But it was bad even if the guys got attacked, so I don't understand. Right? Okay, but it's okay. This matchup is so desperate. It kind of doesn't super matter. And it would matter more if the Gliscor was not max. What's it? No, max special defense. And then you miss out pump because you've been punished for your for your sins. And here comes the problem, where if you don't have Ice Beam, you're not going to kill Gliscor. Exactly. Actually, did Reku Meteor kill? Maybe, maybe not. Ice Fang Freeze, very annoying, yeah. But very little of this matters. Like, the Excadrill sweep is impending, and like even if Latios didn't get frozen, then your opponent can just switch to Seismitoad because you're locked into Surf, and then what do you do? Do you? I mean, you can go Jelly, try to outplay it, that kind of stuff. I guess you're not out of the game technically, but I think it's very. I don't know. I'm not sure how much it matters in the real world. Okay, let's see this jersey set, because what's... Oh, I remember now, it's Substitute Iron and Fire Punch Toxic, which is very unfortunate when you load it into Seismitoad plus Gliscor, but I mean, that's just the game, right? Right, in comes the Excadrill, and you probably go Lando, because this guy should Earthquake, yeah. There's no way spins, right? I mean, oh, Lando just dies to rocks, okay, because PS things are funny, except everything dies in one hit. So you go Etran and hope you're faster because you're timid and this guy's adamant. I mean, you hope this guy's adamant, and he's not. And that's game over. Uh, Not much to say really. I think this matchup was almost impossible, and then a couple of turns were a bit weird, I think. And on top of that, somewhat unlucky for Monai. Skullburn, especially on the first call, that's a bit sad. The freeze probably doesn't matter because rocks are up and you're stuck surfing. It gives you less of a room to outplay, I guess. But I can you outplay your way to a win from there? Probably not, right? I think the game is over to Escadrille anyway. There, your Jellicent is low. Like everything dies basically to Earthquake except. Well, except nothing, because Lando was at 13% burn and would die to rocks. Latios 8%, and so the three remaining guys would instantly get deleted by Earthquake. So yeah, that was game anyway. Anything else? That recover with Jellion and guys looked a bit weird to me, but maybe I don't know. If that said, if this was Ice Beam Jelly, it would have kind of owned. But yeah, basically, why did Monai power whip turn one? We may never know. I don't want to know actually. It's just such a weird play. I don't know, man. Maybe it's. I don't know. I really don't have much else to say. That's it, really. You power it to one because your opponent is, I don't know, is using 69 on ladder, and then, yeah, you can power with the guy turn one, but except he does not run Says Method, he only runs Zoroark team. But yeah, like, only some players will only a few select category of players will stay in turn one and let let your Pharaoh power with their Sales Method. And let's say that StarMaster is not one of them. This is the most gentle way I can put it. Like, this is the nicest way I can excuse Monai for this. Or rather, I could not excuse Monai for this. But yeah, well played by StarMaster. I mean, this was a pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but set. It's not easy, right? Because Andrews can own you technically, in a sense, but not super hard because you have Ice Fang special defensive life score, and you have a Selby who is probably faster and didn't power Ice. And this land was the standard max speed, max health. So yeah, it was. It's just our game against Gliscor, Celebi, Seismito, Tita, right? You can lose, obviously. One Landros is strong again, although not super great. And then the Jelly is also pretty good into this. Like, all of the damage you see on these mons came from Jellicent, basically. And if it didn't miss that Hydro Pump, it would have been even much better for Monai. And so, yeah, that's it, really. Good job, and see you next time.